see how it actually looks like it's coming out at you? That was the plan.
This three-dimensional train rolling out of a tunnel is actually leather that has been airbrushed in a unique process you can only find in the Moore Art Studio of Carl Queen.
I've been all over the country to art shows. I've never run across anyone doing what I do. The airbrushing, I've always loved airbrush, and so I've used the airbrush quite a bit. And one day decided to airbrush on some leather, and that's taken off in the last, I've been doing that probably the last 20 years quite a bit. I start off with a sheet of foam core, and I sketch everything out that I'm doing. And then I cut all the pieces out. I take suede leather that's loose like this. I cut the pieces for the basic colors that I want to use.
In 1965, Carl Queen had a life-changing experience. For the first time, he was actually paid to do something he loved, art. The commissioned project was to build a mascot for an area high school, and it put him on course to become a professional artist.
I thought I had just arrived. For me at that time, it was a lot of money. And that's where I started as far as the one that really got me going, as it were. I'm just taking the airbrush and kind of giving the semblance of some stonework here, as it might have been coming out of the tunnel. Artwork to begin with is just an illusion of what we think it might be, and things we've seen and so forth. In my artwork, I always try to do things that are upbeat or bring back memories of what we may have seen when we were a child and so forth.
In 1972, Carl moved to Moore and became a full-time artist. He quickly discovered surviving in this field meant diversifying and began taking on projects of all sorts.
Probably the most challenging was the brick wall in Guthrie, Oklahoma. I had never carved a brick wall before I did that one. In fact, that's the only brick wall I've ever carved.
The wall can still be found just off Interstate 35 in Guthrie.
Then we're going to shade this so it looks like it's a little further behind the train, and that will go in there. If you have the talent and you can go out there and do it, it's a wonderful thing. I get to do what I love for a living, and I've been at it. I'm 60 now, and I've been at it since I was a teenager, basically.
Most of which has been documented over the years in newspaper articles highlighting important projects Carl has been involved with. From art shows to commissioned work, Carl has made his mark on Oklahoma. Take the state capitol, for instance. Most every door in the Capitol building has the state seal etched in glass, hand-carved by Carl.
Yeah, it was a lot of doors, We even ended up doing the restroom doors. I mean, you know, it was just, and we did the Senate floors first. Well, when the House saw the Senate, then the House had to have their doors done and so forth, and just kind of grew. It started out as doing one floor and ended up 5 floors of the state capitol have my work in them that will be there, like I say, forever. As I make these, they're going to be kind of linear, and then I'll airbrush a couple of different colors because the sky is always different colors. I try to give back in that I do have the talent and I can make a living doing this, but you need to give something back. And for years, I raised money for different charities, carving pumpkins and so forth. The most I ever carved at one time was 500, and that took 30 hours and 30 minutes, and I'll never do that again. In fact, nowadays, a few people will bring me a pumpkin, I'll carve it, but I'm getting a little old for that.
One thing he's not getting a little old for are fast cars. Much of his work these days relates to race cars and old classics.
We've got one in now for Al Unser's museum in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that we're doing the race cars for Bobby Unser, Al Unser, and Al Jr.
He'll be converting these pictures of Unser's winning Indy cars into leather art for display over the actual cars at the museum.
And it's car related, and I'm an old car nut. I love old cars. And so it's nice to be able to do two things that I love. I get to be around old cars, I get to do pictures of people's cars, and do the artwork that I love for a living. So it's a win-win deal.
As for the train, it's off to an art show in Albuquerque, where someone will decide it's exactly what they've been looking for.
And that one's ready for signature.